Good morning, everyone. It is most definitely a Monday because it's 8:05 and now I'm just now driving to work. Again, because it's a Monday. Well, I start my day on the 55. Come and join me now. It's the daily drive. I'm leaving later, much later than usual, because let me backtrack 1 second. If you do not want to hear about my personal illness issues, I'm not going to be gross about it. I'm going to do my best not to be gross about it, I should say. But if you don't want to hear it, you should just skip this one completely. Because I'm going to not go into detail, but talk about something that I have to deal with for about 10 years now. So I'm late today because I had a bad stomach attack this morning, as I like to call them. And I could not leave the restroom for a period of time. Because I have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. I've had it for a very long time, and I'm not entirely sure why I have it. So I started when I was in college at some point, and they're still not 100% sure why it just magically appeared out of nowhere, but I've had it. And since having it, I've been diagnosed with like 4 or 5 different diseases. You know, at first, they thought it was celiac, so they put me on the celiac diet, you know, where I'm allergic to gluten, and I was still getting these really bad stomach attacks. And then, you know, they said, no, you know what, forget it, it's Crohn's, because Crohn's actually runs in my family, which, that's another devastating disease, which sucks a lot. So I thought I had Crohn's for a little while. And then, you know, they kept going and going and going. And eventually they just said, well, you have irritable bowel syndrome. That's just it. There is literally no cure for it except for doing the best you can, not eating things that you know will upset your stomach and so on. You basically just have to deal with it. And it sucks. For the longest time, not really anymore, maybe every once in a while now, but it was debilitating to me because I didn't want to leave the house. Now, I was already a very anxiety-ridden, somewhat depressed person to begin with when I was younger, so leaving the house to begin with was a big thing for me, and if I had to leave the house, I would live in fear that my stomach would hurt, and I would have an attack, and I would be nowhere near a bathroom. So if I was going somewhere, I literally needed to know where every bathroom was along the way. Like on the route driving there, when we were actually there, any other auxiliary places we may have went to on the way back. Like, it was a massive, massive problem. And, you know, IBS is set off by some of the things that you eat. They affect your stomach, but it's also set off by stress and a lot of anxiety, which, again, I still have, not as much as before, mind you, but I would get so anxious and worked up about it that, like, totally freaking out about what I was going to do if I had to use the restroom or had an attack, and what would my friends think, I don't want to be embarrassed, blah, 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 that basically I just opted to not go out a lot of times just because I didn't want to deal with it, and I felt much safer in my own home just in case an attack happened. And when I was, you know, when it first started, that happened a lot, like all the time, and it sucked. And a lot of times I felt trapped. I couldn't leave places for hours at a time, or on top of that, I would feel embarrassed, and I would have to wait for everybody to clear out for me to leave that place because I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to talk about it. And it's still pretty embarrassing, to be honest with you. I mean, even now, like, if I'm out somewhere and my stomach hurts and I know it's going to happen, try to excuse myself, make up some kind of excuse that's not, oh, I have to use the restroom for 45 minutes because my stomach hates me. You know, I just try to excuse myself tastefully to get out of that situation, despite how much pain and suffering I may be in at that moment in time. And it's just not a fun thing to deal with. And I know there are certain things that set it off. I know there are certain foods, which is why I stay away from certain foods. Some of them I do my best to stay away from, and every once in a while I will treat myself, and it always ends badly, because I clearly never learned my lesson. I also pretty much like a gremlin, I can't eat after a certain time at night because my stomach, in my mind at least, needs a certain amount of time to digest the things that I'm going to eat. So if I have to wake up early for work the next day and I'm eating at 10 o'clock at night, that's not enough time for my stomach to digest stuff, and I'm going to have a problem in the morning. And that may have been what happened last night. I don't remember eating after like 8 o'clock last night, so maybe I grabbed a snack without really thinking about it, and that's why it happened, but it just sucks. And for those of you who know me personally, you know that I have an immense fear of needles to begin with. The IBS actually made that fear 1,000 times worse, because when I was first getting diagnosed with all these different things, I had to go for all these blood tests all the time, and they were just sticking me with needles left and right, and I just hated it. And one time I went, and I'm not joking when I say that they wanted to take 11 vials of blood from me to test them all. Now, that's a lot of blood and a lot of vials. And for someone who hates needles and having to sit there and watch the needle go into their skin, I'm getting skeeved out talking about it right now. I can feel it. It's nauseating me, and I apologize. But having to watch it and feel it and have it sit there while they fill those 11 vials, and it's not a quick process. It takes a little bit of time. So I passed out that time. Like, I think they got to 7 or 8, and I kept telling the woman, you need to stop, I'm going to pass out. And she's like, no, you'll be fine, just take a breath. Here, have some water, have a cracker. And I told her, like, listen, I'm going to pass out if you do not take this out of me right now. And sure enough, passed out. And then I woke up 10 minutes later, and I was extremely nauseous. I spent a lot of time in the restroom of that doctor's office, or I think it was a lab at that point, literally vomiting my brains out because I was so nauseous because the needles made me sick, and I just overhyped myself. And then again, that led to me being anxiety-ridden, and I had a bathroom attack again. So it's just a very vicious cycle. So it's not fun. It's terrible. In fact, my stomach still hurts right now, but it's after 8 o'clock, and I should have been at work. I'm usually at work at like 7:30 every morning to begin with. So I'm quote-unquote late today, even though I'm in early every single day. So it obviously still affects my life in some ways. Not as much as it used to. I actually do take a medication, not to quell the stomach problems to begin with, but I take a lot of like supplements. First of all, I do take a prescription muscle relaxer because I used to get the really bad stomach cramps. So if I feel like one is going to come on, I take the muscle relaxer. It's very low grade. It's nothing like insane. I'm not addicted or anything, so don't be crazy or anything. I take it when I need it, when I know it's going to happen, and it relaxes my stomach muscles so I don't have that immense stomach cramping. You know, when you have a stomach virus or food poisoning, it's like that, but like times 20. That's what it feels like when my stomach cramps up. So I have to take that to make myself feel better. I also take, a peppermint pill. I take a cinnamon pill every morning. Like, these are the things I do every day to help myself feel better. And I need to avoid, 1,000 other things so I don't die throughout the day. And there are some days where I'm fine and I'm totally normal. And then there'll be stretches of time for like 3 or 4 days at a time where it sucks. And I spend much more time in the restroom than I would care to admit. So, just as a heads up, I guess, for anyone who ever meets me or anything, if for whatever reason I feel like I look like I'm in some sort of discomfort, or I excuse myself and I'm gone for any period of time and I may seem embarrassed by it, excuse me, that's probably the reason why. I will probably never admit this to anyone's face. That's why I'm doing this here, because it's a lot easier to talk this way about it and not have to, see reactions or whatever. That's just how I am when it comes to this kind of thing. But that's probably why. So forgive me in advance. I will do my best to be done as soon as possible, ? So yeah, that's it. Definitely a Monday. That's how my Monday started. I really hope the rest of my Monday goes much, much nicer. I'm on my way to work now. I am sitting in a little bit of traffic. I'm moving, but there's much more traffic at 8:15 in the morning than there is at, 7:15 in the morning, because everybody's got to get to work at 9. So yes, that. Sorry for getting all weird personal health-related issues to you guys. I don't really do that. But maybe this was just a good time to talk about it, since it happened this morning, and it was bad. Sorry for being gross. Anyway, have a great Monday. Today's actually May the 4th. I know I probably should. I planned on talking about Star Wars stuff today, Didn't plan it out that way. But on the Commuter Crew Weekly Facebook page, I'll be posting a lot of our Star Wars themed episodes, because actually we've had 3 really like big Star Wars episodes. The just recent one with the Star Wars Celebration recap. We did one where we did the history of the Star Tours attraction, and then we also did a Star Wars entire themed episode, and we actually talked about the official canon history of Star Tours, because there is a canon history that fits within the Star Wars universe, so it's kind of cool. So that'll be posted on Facebook.com/CommuniCrowWeekly all day today, and also on my Twitter. I set it up to post some of those things throughout the day. So go check them out if you're in a very Star Warsy mood. May the 4th be with you. Have a wonderful day. Stay in the bathroom? Sure. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. I hit it. It fell over. I apologize. I'm going to wait till this is even 11. And even 11. Now bye.